Hello and welcome to today's episode of Modesty's Morning Masterclass. It's me again, your friend and your man, Ikenna Umezdike, the Director of Modesty Financial Consultants Limited, based in Luton, United Kingdom, specialist in mortgage services, financial planning, financial advice, and investments advice. Okay, so today we are continuing on the series that we started a couple of weeks ago, the 7 Financial Commandments. We've done commandments 1 to 4 in the last 2 weeks, and today I'm going to round it up with commandments numbers 5, 6, and 7. So it's going to be a speedy one, and I hope I have I cover it all up within this time frame. But then that's what we are committed to doing. So I come to you again in peace today, and hoping that today's session will give you the tools that you need to go out there, do exploits, and become the best of whatever you want to be, and get your financial lives and your wealth accumulation dreams well on course. Okay, so today let's jump straight into commandment number 5. Commandment number 5 is according to Arkad. Remember that we are taking this from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, the 7 cures to a lean purse that Arkad was teaching, which I coined the 7 financial commandments. So commandment number 5 says, make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Make of your dwelling a profitable investment. So what does this entail? Basically, we've talked about saving 10% of your income at least, whatever you earn, and then after saving that, protect your savings through the mechanics and mechanisms of budgeting and controlling your expenditures, and then invest those savings. And when you invest them, make sure you take proper advice and you investigate whoever you're investing your funds for, and make sure that your funds are well secured. So that 10% that you have set aside, you are left with 90% of your income. And we encourage you to live within that 90% of your income, that you can do it if you can control your expenditures and define what essential expenses and expenditures are to you, or redefine them if you need to. Now, within that 90% that you are supposed to be spending, is supposed to be for your comforts, for your enjoyment, to provide you with the things that make life worth living for you, to pay your bills, to pay the bills for things that you can actually say that this is the result of my hard work and this is what I am working for, within that 90% of your disposable income. Now, part of that enjoyment comes from where you spend most of your time, or your free time, which is your home. So part of that 90%, normally, or should go towards giving you a shelter. Okay, so there are different ways people get shelter for themselves. Some are in rented properties, some have bought their own homes, and there's something called shared ownership, where some part of what you're paying is a rent and some part of it is a mortgage on your home. So what Arkad was saying in essence in this place is that you should try and get your own home. Own a home. Yeah? Own the property that you live in, so that you don't continue paying rents to landlords. Now, everybody doesn't have to own a home at the same time, because everybody's financial timetable don't go at the same pace at the same time. But what Arkad is saying is that even if you don't own a home now, make it a target, make it a dream that you want to achieve. Make it one of your financial plans and targets, that you want to save enough, or you want to earn enough to be able to afford to buy a home. Okay, because to be honest with you, paying rent to landlords, the rent you are paying to landlords, if you, for example, take out a mortgage, that the amount you pay to landlords in rent will be enough to pay for your mortgage, and some change will be left over. Where the struggle usually comes for people for mortgages is actually coming up with a deposit. And that is where you need a plan. And then you say, okay, how much deposit do I need to be able to put down for a house that I can afford? Right? There are plans, there are programs and schemes set up by the government to help first-time buyers to get onto the property market. Some of them are help to buy schemes. I've touched on them and in my mortgage section. So if you want to learn more about that, go to hi Emmanuel, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on, brother. So go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, or you can just go and watch search my name, Ike Naumesdike, on YouTube. You see where I've talked about help to buy schemes set up by the UK government to help get onto the property ladder. Okay, so it gives you a helping hand towards being able to save for the deposit, to put down as deposit, to buy your own home and to buy your own property. So it's very vital that even if you don't own your own home yet, that you strive to own your own home, to own the shelter, the roof over your head. What it does for you is that, first of all, your mortgage, the mortgage you pay, is usually less than the rent you pay to the landlord. So you're going to save some money on rents long term. Secondly, it gives you that sense of pride and satisfaction and comfort that the roof you live under, there's some kind of sense of sentiment and ownership that comes with ownership of home, right? That the roof you live in or you live under belongs to you. You know, there is this popular musician in Nigeria then named Oliver de Coke. One of his songs where he was saying that a tenant doesn't plant flowers. A tenant doesn't plant flowers. So what it means that there is a limit to how much you can beautify a home that you don't actually own, because you're not emotionally attached to that home. Excuse me. If, for example, you move into the house, you don't like the wallpaper or the color of the paint or the outlay of the house, you can't change it. You just have to live with it and live within that, and continue to condone it. But then if you feel uncomfortable in that, which you should really, you have to set a plan in place to buy your own home. And with the government's help to buy scheme in this country, in the UK, it gives you an opportunity of having a 5-year plan, at least, where you'll be setting aside some money into a deposit, into a savings account, and at the end of that 5-year term, or when you must have attained that maximum level of £12,000 in your savings, the government will top it up with 25%, which is you're getting extra 25% from the government. On top of that, your help to buy ISA if you set it up in November last year, and it will help you to buy your own home. If you have missed the deadline for the help to buy ISA, you can jump onto the lifetime ISA scheme, which has the same scheme. But like I said, go to my YouTube channel and search for that help to buy scheme where I discussed the help to buy schemes that have been set up by the government. So, but this particular topic and this particular 5th commandment is geared towards encouraging you to own your own home, because then you can beautify it. You can do whatever you want to do. Even if your children damage anything in your home, you can afford to fix it when you want, or you can afford to it won't hurt you that badly. But if you live in a rented apartment and your children destroys something in that house, it really hurts, because you're going to fix it and you're fixing it for somebody else, and there is some kind of emotional attachment to it. So for people who haven't got their own homes, the important thing is that you've got a plan, and then you keep working on that plan until that dream actualizes. But as long as you've got a plan and you've set that as a target, that I will own my own home, and set a time frame within which that will have to happen, and then work out a strategy. How much do I need to be saving? How much do I need to be earning to be able to afford this? Okay, and make sure that it's a home that you can afford. You don't have to over elaborate when you are buying your first home. It's a home that you can afford, and then when you buy your first home and you move into your first home, you get that sense of satisfaction. You own the shelter. In some places, in some parts of the world where they buy their own home, there's so much space, land space available for them to do other things. If there's so much space, land space available for you to do other things, do other things. If you need to farm on there, farm on there. If you need to set up a small cottage industry within that place where you bought your home, set up a cottage industry there and be producing something that generates you income because you own that place. I was talking to one of my mentees in Nigeria, who runs a bakery business. The factory from where he runs the bakery business, the building, the property it's a family home, but at the very ground floor, there's a massive warehouse space, where he now runs his bakery business. Imagine running a business from that place and not paying rent. So the money you would have spent on rent all goes into your business as an income. So it gives you a lot of leverage if you have your own home and if there's some extra space there where you can generate some kind of income. Generate income from that space because that is the advantage of owning the space where you work. But if that is not your house and you rent that house, no matter how much space you have there, you can't build anything on there because you're not allowed to, you're not authorized to. So there is advantage, both sociological, both physiological, both physical, emotional, and economic advantage of owning your own home. So it should be something that's on your mind and something that you really, really aim to do. And like I said, set a time frame, start working on it. Make sure you have a plan and a strategy. If you can get a mortgage, get a mortgage. I'm a mortgage advisor. I'm a professional mortgage advisor in this country. And I know, what joy it brings to people to actually say, your mortgage is complete. This is a document. The bank is willing to lend you this much. And when they come to us, we just take details of their circumstances and then we design a plan, a strategy to getting that mortgage for them. We tell them this is how much you need to put down as deposit. Where does that deposit come from? A lot of them, I work with them even on the strategy to raise the deposit and how best to raise the deposit so that it doesn't harm their financial life and their financial circle. I work with them and I help them to raise that deposit from the sources that that are available to them. There are different ways you can raise a deposit. You can save towards a deposit. It could be through family inheritance. It could be through family inheritance, and if it's somebody who already has a home and wants to buy another home, you can raise equity from the home that you already own, if there's enough equity in it, to raise deposit to buy another home. Okay, so those are the ways you can actually work towards getting it. As long as there is a plan, that plan will eventually lead you to owning your own home. Okay, so when you eventually get that mortgage, you pay that mortgage with the same regularity that you pay your rent, because if you pay your rent monthly, every month you pay your mortgage replaces your rent, and mortgages are usually cheaper than rent, so you save some money on there. If you can deny yourself a few more pleasures, you can afford to overpay on your mortgage. Okay, you take out a mortgage, and the more you overpay on your mortgage, as long as it is within the specified terms and conditions of the mortgage lender, read your mortgage terms and conditions and find out by how much you can overpay on your mortgage. Each overpayment you make reduces the capital on that mortgage, meaning that the interest is reduced, and then you can pay off that mortgage earlier than you can. Even if you overpay your mortgage by, say, £100 a month, or even if it's no matter how little you can overpay by, most lenders would say you must not overpay by more than 10% of the outstanding mortgage balance every year. Otherwise, they will charge you what they call early repayment charge. As long as you stick within that limit and you overpay your mortgage gradually and more frequently, you pay off that mortgage earlier. If you just can deny yourself a little bit of pleasure and desire and just work towards making sure that house belongs to you, because the house doesn't belong to you completely yet until you pay off the mortgage. So your aim should be actually, how can I pay this mortgage off quicker so that I can own the whole asset and everything in this house? Yeah, if you are buying your own property where you are going to live, please avoid interest only mortgages if it's a residential property. Anyway, these days banks don't, a lot of lenders don't lend on interest only basis for residential mortgages. They lend on interest and capital repayment basis mostly. But there are still a few interest-only mortgages out there for residential properties that are offered by lenders. But I would encourage you, if you are buying your own home where you're going to live with your family, avoid interest-only mortgages unless you have a very solid arrangement in place that will yield you enough money and capital to pay off the capital of that mortgage by the time the mortgage term ends. So if you, for example, if you take out a 25-year mortgage and you borrow £200,000 to be able to afford that mortgage, it means you are owing the bank £200,000 and you have 25 years to pay it back. So if you are not reducing that capital, gradually before that 25 years, if you are paying only the interest, you pay interest for the whole of that 25 years. At the end of 25-year term, you are still owing the bank £200,000. So, and as long as that capital is not being reduced, the house still doesn't belong to you. Do you have a solid plan that means that you have £200,000 in bulk by 25 years' time to pay the bank? You have to demonstrate that to the bank, actually, and they have to be satisfied that that plan is plausible and feasible. Okay? So, you own your own home. That gives you joy, and it gives you more opportunities, and it opens up more and more ideas and opportunities for you when you own your own home, about things that you can do there and how comfortable you can be. Take advantage of the government scheme if you cannot do it on your own, right? If you cannot raise deposits on your own, there are a few government schemes that you can take advantage of. Commandment number 6, right, is ensure a future income. Ensure a future income. What are we talking about here? We're talking about pensions and life insurance, which are part of your estate planning. Okay, so the realization of the fact that that life is in stages, means that there is a time there will come a time when your strength, your youthful strength will fail you. Okay, they will disappear. You can't do the things you used to do now in, say, 30 years time, depending on your age, or 40 or 50 years time, depending on your age as well. So the older you get, the weaker you become physically. The more the lesser capable you are of doing things with equal amount of tediousness that you used to do them. When we do mortgages for people, yeah, if the term of your mortgage goes into your retirement age, you should be able to demonstrate to the lender why they should lend you money beyond your retirement age, which means you'll be paying your mortgage into your retirement age. How can you afford to do that? The lender wants to see something like your pension statement, which shows a projection of how much you are likely going to be earning during your pension, and see if that projection is enough to cover your mortgage repayments plus your other expenses going into your retirement age. Or you will have to demonstrate that the job you are doing is not tedious enough that you'll be able to do it into a retirement, and that retirement they will cap it at some kind of age. Say if that mortgage goes into your age of 75. If it's an admin work that you are doing, yes, you can say, I'm the owner of my business, I do admin work. Or even if I'm not the owner of the business, the work I do is a managerial job. I can sit in the office and do my admin work. That does not affect my ability to pay my mortgage. The lender can lend you based on that. If not, it is irresponsible of the lender to lend you money beyond your retirement age when they know that you will not have the same strength you have now to be able to do the same job you're doing. So if you're in the construction industry, for example, you cannot convince the lender that at the age of 75, you will still be drilling and carrying bricks and doing all your construction work. It's not possible. If you're in the mining industry, you cannot convince the lender that at the age of 75, you will still be working underground, mining stuff and drilling with all those heavy machines. You cannot convince the lender that you can do that. Okay? So there are certain jobs that it requires physicality for you to execute them. And at certain age, you will not be able to do them. So what it means is that life is in stages. And you plan your life and your financial life according to those stages. Now, what plan have you got for when you are old And you can no longer do the things that you're doing with the same level of tediousness and physicality that you're doing them. All right? Can you afford to still to earn the same amount of money you're earning now by the time you're age 75? Can you guarantee that that can still happen? Even if that can still happen, can you still give it as much energy, as much time? Can you devote as much passion to it even at that age with which you are doing it now? As a young man now, you can afford to do 3-4 jobs at the same time. You can afford to juggle them at the same time. A lot of people work 2-3 jobs in this country to make ends meet. At the age of 75, can you still afford to do that? The answer is no. The older you get, the weaker you get. So the more imperative it becomes that you're beginning now to ensure for a future income, to arrange for income that will take care of you at your old age. So if you haven't got your pension planning in place, this is the time to get it in place. The earlier you start doing it, the better for you, because if you start it earlier, it means you have a longer period of time to invest in your pension plan or your pension fund, and the longer you invest in it, the more income you can generate, because those investment thrives on time. So once it's your pension plan, you dedicate that investment to your pension. It becomes your pension plan. So even if you have several investments, if you want to dedicate one to be your pension arrangement, dedicate one to be your pension arrangement, and then begin to pay money to it on a regular basis. Hi, Wamaka, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. Begin to pay money into that account or into that investment account on a regular basis. By the time you pay into that money on a regular basis for the number of years that you wish to invest until you retire, you would have given that that investment enough time to generate you enough income in your old age. When your old age comes calling, you can then start withdrawing from that income, and that pension, that investment starts paying you income that can sustain you in your old age. That way you are no longer a burden to your family in your old age. You are not dependent on anybody's charity to look after you in your old age. You are not depending on any handouts from anybody to look after your old age, because you took care of your old age. Hi, Uchenna, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, you're no longer looking for somebody who will hand out anything to you in your old age. You have taken care of your old age while you could. The reason people just grow old and they grow poor when they are old is because they have not planned for their old age while they could. They whiled away their time. They were busy partying. They were busy throwing money around. They were busy wasting money. And some of them had serious funds at their disposal when they had the money. But because of poor financial planning, they couldn't plan for retirement. They couldn't plan for pension. Now, if you're working in an establishment, where your company has a company pension, I beg you in the name of God, be part of that company pension. Because especially if your company is contributing to the pension while you are still contributing, what you're getting from your company is free money. You cannot get it any better. So if you're an employee and the company you work for has a pension scheme, get involved. That is free money. If you pay in and your company pays into, absolutely fantastic. Why? It can't be any better. It's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. It's a no-brainer. You pay in, your company pays in, your pension pot is growing. If you change jobs, right, and you've got a pension from your previous company, you can actually move that pension into a new pension. You can move it into a central pension. You can convert it to a personal pension, move that pension pot into a new pension. And you can set up all your pensions on what platform if you want to. Or you can leave that pension there while it's doing its own thing, it's being invested and it's generating income. Then you start building another pension pot with your new employer. Hi, Christian. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. So you start building another pension pot with your new employer. Okay? And then if you can set up your own private pension, you set up your own private pension as well. You can have as many pension pots as possible. Now, let me tell you the ways you can build pension. Number one is through investments, right? You can invest in pension funds. You can talk to pension fund administrators and you can set up pension funds. Secondly, you can dedicate an investment, a long-term investment, where you pay in money regularly and dedicate it to your pension and say, this is my pension and I'm not going to use it for anything else. I'm not going to touch it until I retire. I am committed to paying in £100 every month into the sport for the next 20, 25, 30 years. I don't care, until I retire. As you pay in, the investment keeps going on. By the time you retire, that investment is already yielding you some very, very serious income. You can also set up your pension plan in properties. Okay, real estate is another way of setting up pension. You can set up, you can buy properties for investments and put tenants in there, and they will pay you rental income. That rental income can serve as your pension at your old age. Okay, the other way you can realize, there are two ways you can generate income from properties, either by growth or by income. The value of that property will be appreciating over time. Yeah, if it's the longer you live it, the more the value appreciates. So in your pension, when you retire, you can sell any of those real estates, that assets that you have, and use the proceeds to look after yourself while you retire. You can sell it, get the money in lump sum, and then you can use to buy an annuity. An annuity is a periodic payment that insurance or pension fund administrators pay you regularly in exchange for the lump sum that you've given to them. So you give them a lump sum, you use it to buy regular income. So they now pay you regular income from that lump sum that you give to them, and you buy it from them. So it means that regularly, you know that every month you are going to get this much. So you don't have that lump sum, you don't spend it all at once. You can use that lump sum to buy an annuity. Okay, if you don't want to buy an annuity, you can keep the lump sum and be drawing down on it if you know you are financially responsible enough to be doing that. Or you can put it in a safe investment that is not too risky, that will be giving you regular income as and when you want it, because you have invested that money in there. So the investment in funds or pension funds and investment in properties are two key ways you can build your pension for yourself, looking after yourself when you are gone. Well, sorry, when you're not when you're gone. Now, talking about when you are gone, the other way to ensure a future income is to ensure the income of your family. How can your family survive when you are no longer there? Have you made provision for them? If anything happens to you, what will be the fate of your family? The only thing that takes care of that while you still can is insurance. You pick up a life insurance, you insure the future income of your family. You instruct the life insurance that once I'm not there, pay this money to my family and let them use it to look after themselves. I do not want to be a headache. I do not want them to worry about money when I'm not there. It's enough worry for your family that you're no longer there. Your presence is missed. They miss your support. They miss, your encouragement. They miss everything about you. It's enough worry for them. Please do not let financial worries be one of the things that your family will have to think about and worry about while you're no longer there. Take a life insurance. A life insurance guarantees that when you're no longer there, your family can look after themselves. I've done a session on life insurance, so if you go to my YouTube channel, you can listen to and watch the session I did on life insurance and critical illness insurance. While you get life insurance, please get a critical illness insurance, because while you care about your family when you're no longer there, what if you fall ill and you develop like cancer or stroke, or heart attack, and you can no longer walk, you can no longer earn? Critical illness insurance guarantees that you receive a lump sum, which can help you live your life normal and help your family, look after you financially, so they do not worry too much about your state of health, and they worry about financial situation as well. So these things are things that you can put in place and arrange your financial lives that your family will not suffer. You have insured the future income. So you've insured your future income through pensions and through retirement planning. You've insured the income of your family through insurance. And when you arrange a life insurance, there is one very, very big omission that people make when they arrange a life insurance. That omission is putting that life insurance in a trust. I did a session on trusts and trustees in my mortgage session. Again, I refer you to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is loaded. It's loaded with so much financial education content that's Everything I do every week, I upload them on my YouTube channel. So if you really want to get deep down into the nitty-gritty of some of these things, go to my YouTube channel and keep watching all the sessions that I put up there. Just search Ikenna Omezdike on YouTube. It will come up, and then you watch the sessions that you want to watch. So I did a session on trust and trustees. Trust is a legal structure you set up, right? That legal structure you set up is something that tells the trustees, which are the people managing that trust on your behalf, how they will distribute your assets. Hi Chima, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. How they will distribute your assets to your beneficiaries when you are not there. Trusts are structures that help in inheritance tax planning. They help you to avoid paying too much tax, and they help you to hand over wealth to the next generation tax efficiently. Okay, if for example you have somebody who is a minor that you want to hand wealth over, trust is a good way of doing it. Because if that person is a minor and you put that asset in a trust, if anything happens to you while the person is still premature, rather than that person inheriting that wealth and that assets while they are still premature, while they are still a minor, the trusts will hold that asset on their behalf until they get of age. When they become of age, they can take control of that asset via the trust, and then they can do what they want with that asset. Or you can instruct the trust to say, this is what they are entitled to. Only give them income from this asset. Don't give them control of it. I only want the control to belong to the next generation. You can use it to set up an inheritance planning for your next generation, for your grandchildren. You can set up a trust that will give you a plan for your next generation, your grandchildren, to inherit your wealth or any assets. Your immediate family, maybe your spouse or your children, can be benefiting from the income, quite all right. But you can tell the trust, yes, if this property or these shares, the income coming from there, pay it to my wife or to my children, I mean, those ones, they are comfortable enough. If you know that they are comfortable enough, and then you are more worried about the generation after them, you can give them right and access to earn the income from that asset which you have put in a trust. But the control of that asset you can reserve for your grandchildren. Okay? And the trust enables you to distribute and protect the family wealth properly. So if you are taking out a life insurance, your life insurance becomes part of your estate. So if you die, say you took out a life insurance of, say, £500,000, part of your estate is £500,000. So if you have other assets and other properties and other assets that are worth any amount of money, bring all those together, including the worth of your life insurance. That is the estate that your beneficiaries are going to have access to, that will be distributed to them. Now, in a country like the UK, where a lot of these things are taxed, there are tax implications of not putting that insurance in a trust. The tax implication is, for example, if you're married and say the man dies first, if the asset transfers to the wife automatically, it is not taxable. Okay? So any asset that transfers from one spouse to the other automatically is not taxable. But what if the other spouse dies? The children who will inherit that will have to bear the tax implications of that. Okay? So if, for example, now the children now inherit that £500,000 worth of insurance, already that £500,000 is above the threshold of the tax-free inheritance. The tax-free inheritance is £325,000. The first £325,000 is not taxed. Anything on top of that, you pay 40% tax on it, depending on the tax band and the tax situation of the people who are inheriting the. So you now say that if you take £325,000 away from £500,000, you're paying tax on £175,000. Now that £175,000 is just the insurance alone. What about the property and the worth of that property? What about the shares that that person has? What about the other asset that they have? If you bring all that together, it could be enormous amount of tax you're going to pay on that. But if you put these assets in a trust, for example, that life insurance, you put it in a trust, you shield it from That's tax liability, because trusts, most of the assets that are put in trusts are not taxed. So your generation can be taking income from that from the assets in that trust without paying tax. So there are several ways you can use trust. But trust me, if you are taking out life insurance, make sure the person who is organizing your life insurance is talking to you about putting it in a trust. Yeah, depending on the jurisdiction where you operate. But in this country, in the UK, it's very important. Any client I arrange their life insurance, I always talk about trust. Consider putting it in a trust, because it has enormous advantage depending on how that estate will be distributed, and all this will be written in your will. Okay, so that is about ensuring a future income, both for yourself and for your loved ones. That is commandment number 6. Commandment number 7, and the final one that we're going to talk about now, is increase your earning ability. Increasing your ability to earn. You see, all this while from commandment 1 to 6, we've been talking about money, and what money can do and what you can do with money. Now, in this commandment number 7, we are going to be talking about you as an individual, and what's not about money is about you now as an individual. We're going to talk about. Why are we going to talk about you? Increasing your earning ability is not about money. It's about you and how you want to improve yourself. So we're talking about giving yourself more opportunities to earn money. So how you position yourself and how much you desire to be better is all down to you. You take responsibility for these things. Nobody takes that responsibility for you. If you want to earn more, you've really got to do more, because you earn in accordance to the value that you produce. The more value that you produce, the more value you produce, the more you earn. So you have been on this job for donkey years, and you have not taken any professional exam. Hi, Prince. Good afternoon, bro. Thanks for coming on. And you have not taken any financial exam. You've not been attending seminars or webinars. You've not been reading books that relate to the profession that you are in. You have not been updating yourself and updating your knowledge and upgrading your knowledge. And you keep crying that your mates are leaving you behind. The reason they are leaving you behind is because you do not have equal amount of desire as they do. The people you are working with in the same office are getting promotions, are getting paid more. Why are they getting promotions? Because they are more efficient in what they are doing. Okay? You are giving a task to do, and you are doing that task shabbily. All you care about is looking at the clock. Once it's closing time, you carry your bag, you go home. I've done the minimum required of me. I've done the average required of me. If you do the minimum, you will earn the minimum. If you do the average, you will earn the average. People who earn above average are people who go above average in their performance and in their efficiency. People who earn above minimum are people who do above minimum in their efficiency and in their capacity. So dedicating yourself to getting better at what you do is what improves your potential and the prospect of what you can earn. If you do not take that seriously, you are not interested in earning more. People who develop themselves, look at the world that we live in today is better because some people have taken it upon themselves to become better and to do things extraordinarily. If you look at the technological inventions that are coming out every day, the different brand of cars, different brand of phones, different brand of tablets, and all the features it has, the kind of TVs that we have, the kind of houses that are built these days, all these innovations in medicines, in engineering, in construction, in technology, and everywhere, it's because somebody's sitting down and thinking, I've got to do this thing better. The latest brand of iPhone comes out, you rush and you go and buy it. It is because somebody has decided to improve on the previous model of the iPhone. So it makes your life a lot better. Oh, the camera quality of the previous one is not good enough. Let us add some features to it that will give it a brighter and more very better values and better features. And they do it, and then you go and pay a lot of money for it. As you're paying a lot of money for that phone, somebody is earning a lot of money for the extra work they have done. Do you want to earn extra? Then do extra. Get better. Take exams. Do not be afraid to improve. And don't sit down there and continue moaning that, oh, this person is doing better in business than I am doing. What is he doing that I'm not doing? Let me tell you what he's doing that you're not doing. He is being more efficient in his cost management. Okay? Because he's sourcing more suppliers that supplies him products at a cheaper cost, and he will sell them maybe at the same price that you are selling, but his margin is higher than yours because he's better at sourcing those products cheaper. This business is doing better than this because they are good at cost management. They reduce their costs, maybe cost of training. They look for the best trainer at the cheapest price. The cost of hiring staff, they look for the best staff and they pay them what they can pay them. They reduce the cost. They find a more efficient way of running business. Do we need this office space? Do we need this desk space? If we can afford to get somebody to work from home and not hire a desk space for the person, it will save us money. So we'll employ this person, work from home, right? We'll pay you, but don't take the desk space. Because the desk space means they need more space, more office space, and more office space means more money, more costs. Do they really need it? And then there will be a cleaner employed to clean all those tables and clean those office space, and the extra computer you are plugging into that socket is costing them extra money in energy costs, and they are paying more bills. They calculate all this. So when you see companies making decisions on cost saving, it is to improve their efficiency, because the more you drive down cost, the more you increase your profits. It's as simple as that. If you want more profits, reduce your costs. So if you are in business and you're doing things that are costing you a lot more than your counterparts, they will earn more than you until you begin to learn to be efficient in running your business. Begin to learn to be efficient in doing your job. Begin to learn to do things better. You are increasing your capacity to earn. And then you begin to see the effects of being better. So read more books. Educate yourself. Improve yourself. Self-development. Be more efficient. Show more dedication in what you do. So that the next time the list of promotion is being drawn, your attention, you've grabbed your employer's attention, and they will recognize what you're doing. Don't think that you're cheating your employer by just doing the basic minimum. Your employer is taking notes. They know you're just doing your basic minimum. You'll be the first, the last to come into the office and the first to go. Fine. That's all right. They'll keep paying you based on your minimum performance. And then others will be first to come into the office and last to go, because they are so determined to get this job done. And they do more than you. The moment there is a space and a vacancy for a managerial position, or transferring that person to a branch to manage a branch, and that person that you think you're on the same level will be the first candidate to be nominated, because they are more efficient, they are more dedicated, and they have improved themselves more. You earn more. The more qualifications you get, the more qualified you are, the more you earn more, because that gives you the right to go and ask for more. Okay, you can walk into your manager's office, your employer's office, and say, please, I need my wages reviewed, I need my income reviewed, I need a pay rise. They will ask you, why do you think you need so? I've got an extra qualification in what I'm doing. I took this professional exam, I passed, here is my certificate. I'm no longer at this level where I am operating. If they're not gonna give you a better working condition, they will lose you. And as they're losing you, they are losing that experience, that expertise, and that professionalism. So you have earned your right to ask for a pay rise based on what you have achieved for yourself and what you have done for yourself. So folks, that is how to increase your capacity to earn. There is one central word that is very key in this. It is called desire. Okay? Desire comes before any achievement. If your desire is not big enough, you will not earn enough. All right? So let your work rate match your desire, and I guarantee you're on your way to hitting it big. All right, folks, I'm going to stop here, and thank you so much for coming on and being part of today. Please let us know what you think. We value your comments, we value your feedbacks, we value everything you say about what we do, and it helps us to get better, and it helps us to know the things that we're not doing right and put them right, because the reason I am here is because of you. If you're not here, I have no reason to be here. But thank you very much for being part of today. God bless you, and do have a wonderful day. Bye now.